Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Chris Scanlon. I'm with Capital Sales. We do have a lot to cover today, so if you have any questions, just post them in the questions box, and we'll take as much time as needed after the webinar to answer all your questions. Today, we're actually joined by Scott Craig from Key Digital. Scott, are you there?
I am, sir. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine. We can see your screen, and everything looks good.
All right. So real quick, we always put the splash screen up so you guys know you can jump in and create your own KDU, which stands for Key Digital University, where there's a whole bunch of our training videos. We're in the process of updating some of this, but you can also earn anyone that participates in CTS or VIXA. You guys can actually earn credits or use for taking these classes. So one thing that we're going over to today is our KD app. So I'm going to kind of jump into it because I want to try to do a demo with you guys and everything else. Like Chris mentioned, if you have any questions, just post them in the question box. And I'm going to kind of breeze through this. I just want to try to grab your guys' attention and kind of go from there. So we'll jump right into this scenario here. All right. All right. Wonderful PowerPoint. So the KD app, everybody can see that. All right. So the KD app basically available for iOS right now. We're working on Android to have an Android solution, but right now we are supporting iOS. So iPhones, iPads, etc., where you can just basically go to the Apple Store, go through and download the app itself. So basically, it's a free app. So when you guys are looking at any of our products online or anything like that, you will see a little icon that says KD App Ready. Okay, so any of our products that are online based, putting it on the network, you will be able to go through with the KD app, discover the product itself, and kind of go from there. So a couple little key points here, which we'll get into with our KD-MS Pro software, which I'll show you guys also. So we're going to kind of breeze through this, but great for commercial applications on the budget, user-friendly names, end user presets, CEC integration. So, and this is kind of like our stepping stone. We'll put a little note in here, gateway to a professional control system. So the KD app is the entry-level version, something that you would give to a client to be able to use, and we'll show you some examples and get them into a larger control system as it goes along. So there is control on the KD app, but I hate saying the word limited, but it would be basic control. And then Compass Control is one of our other systems that would go a little more elaborate in here. So as I was saying before, KD app, it is not Compass Control, okay? So this would be KD app, which would be our entry-level control of our units. And on the bottom here, you have your KD Key Digital App Ready. You'll see that on all our products, meaning that you would be able to utilize the KD app on that product. So that icon will always be listed on our website, keydigital.com. But let's go through this. So a lot of this, I know we're kind of touching base, but I'm more excited to show you guys the demo and how to work this. So I can't stress this enough. It's not Compass Control. So Compass Control is something that we'll go over with you guys in another training, but this is the Key Digital app. So we're going to I don't want to get too far into Compass Control, but just a little comparison between the two. So what systems are KD app ready? Other than jumping on the website, seeing our products, our AV over IP solutions or KD app ready, where I'll show you a demo of that particular scenario, how we can go through and control it. Hold on 1 second. Sorry, guys. Integration tool, KD app GUI, friendly names, presets. You know what? I'm going to go back over this, audio switching. So we will. So I'm never excited about PowerPoint slides. And when we see the demo, I can actually show you this guy's a little bit better. but our AV over IP solution. So we can actually select sources, put them to a display, video wall control, output, input switching, all output switching, and then also a little video preview to be able to see. Not real-time preview. There is a delay between that. But this is something where I've seen people deploy the KD app in an application, even in a bar, where a bar back could grab this and say, hey, you know what? And I'll show you the user-friendly names. Cable box A is going to go on to display B, and so on. It's another little good example of an AV over IP. So we're looking at the first iPad over on the left-hand side, 16 by 24 AV over IP. Project where we have all of our sources and then we have all our displays. So all of our outputs, inputs. So basically in the functionality, when we go through and somebody purchases an AV over IP, we pre-config these in-house. So these names that you would see DirecTV 1, when we config these, or when Chris with your team there goes through and programs, you can label each one of these AV over IP units. So the encoders can all have a friendly username and go through and say, hey, DirecTV 1, DirecTV 3. So you could call out which box is which, and the same thing with all the displays. So here's a real world application. So a dealer of mine, simple bar project came in. This is just utilizing the KD app. They did not want any particular heavy duty control. They just wanted to be able to switch sources. So believe it or not, in this application, somebody comes in the morning, all the TVs are the same. They hit one power command on a remote, turn all the TVs on. And then at the end of the night, they shut them off. But all the displays and all the sources are ID'd on the KD app, which was free again. Downloaded. This is on a little iPad, iPad mini. And now we can take all those sources and those displays and control this. So this is simply a bartender goes through and says, hey, set box 1. He knows there's always football. He can go through and send that out to any display or one particular display across the board. So this is, probably not the prettiest rack we've seen, but a good example for another picture of an example. I apologize. Video wall processor. So our KD VW4x4 Pro gives us the ability to utilize the KD app also. So we would have control over video wall processing across the board, be able to take that source, go through, switch it. We could change into our modes from a 2x2, horizontal, vertical, portrait mode, landscape mode. So we have full control over the 4x4 Pro, okay, that's in here with the KD app. And again, this is something that's free. And there's our video wall processing. I'll show you a real aspect of this, but this is just another demo of what the main GUI looks like on the Key Digital app. So these are all presets on here built in, okay? So this is the standard GUI. When it goes through, pops up, super simple. All those to the right-hand side where it says display or switcher mode, source. We can ID all those sources too, which I'm going to show you in a particular demo. And then our infamous MLV4x2, another KD app ready product itself. So we can do our multi-viewing, full control over that unit again, be able to switch sources, screen modes, inputs, outputs.
Hey, Scott.
Go ahead.
Jonathan here. My mistake, buddy. The MLV4x2, of course, now we have the Pro.
Yes, yes.
Newer model. Absolutely app ready as well, the MLV4x2 Pro. So the difference there being, as you know, if you take one slide back there, take one step back, the MLV4x2 Pro, it's kind of a small image, but on the output side, which is the far right, you had two HDMI with digital audio connectors. On the Pro version, one of them is HD-based output, and it includes the receiver in the box. So it's like kind of one of those situations you could have a near and far display or a projector with the HD-based and a presenter view and an audience view sort of situation. And in addition to digital audio, where you could have surround formats. We also have analog audio on a Phoenix connector. So if this is used in a space that is, you know, like a classroom, lecture hall, that sort of thing, then you can feed into that analog audio system. But sorry, just saw a quick note there. I need to update that slide for us. Sorry about that.
All good. I just didn't want to talk about something until it was actually shipping. So I didn't want to go through and confuse anybody.
You know, that's one of the most popular products for a few years now.
Yeah, I mean, this is the, not to go, you know, we'll do a specific training on the MLV, aka 4x2,
Right.
which will be the 4x4. But this is the ultimate man cave solution. So anyone that has a large 85-inch, they want to watch multiple games, or they have a big projector screen, 120-inch diagonal, we could be able to go through and put this in 4 sources. So I have people that use this in a commercial aspect for digital signage, but we have tons of guys that use this in a residential aspect. So let's go quick. MLV 4x2. So again, here's an example of the preset GUI of how that goes through and looks. And then our infamous KD-Pro8x8D. Okay, so we have your HD-based T HDMI matrix solution that's KD app ready also. So you're going to see more and more of that out of us across the board. We are going through in trying to simplify things where we can add an app to this, have control, and then kind of use that as the graduation aspect of something is somebody's looking to add more stuff to it. But there's tons of conference room solutions and a lot of stuff that are out there that we've just utilized the KD app. So what better way if you were going into somebody and saying, here's your boardroom, let me customize this to you. So this is, you know, conference room A, which I'm going to show you friendly name and lettering. But essentially, if they have an iPad there, and I do suggest running, even if it's our Compass Control or a KD app, I do suggest utilizing our a dedicated iPad. So that way somebody's not loading a bunch of apps or there's a failure of communication, but an iPad on that same network that is on the communicating on the same network as the device is, then you guys are good to go with communication between the two. What systems are KD app ready? Again, here's our another example with the Pro 8x8. 8 input buttons, 8 output buttons, our volume control, friendly name, presets. I know this gets a little redundant, but I'm going to, and I know Jonathan spends a lot of time on these PowerPoint slides, but I want to show you guys a good example itself. So what systems are KD app ready? Again, here's our 2x1, 4x1 Pro HDMI switchers. Okay. So one thing I want you to guys, if you go down to our download sections on our Key Digital app, go through USB connection right here. If you guys can see my mouse moving around this service port here, our USB port, is we can go through and program that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over real quick to our KD-MS Pro. So I'm going to show you one of the things that makes all this happen. So once you have the device itself downloaded on your iPad, go through, let's just stop share. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to drop this real quick, bring our KD-MS Pro. 1 second, guys. All right, if everybody can see that, and Chris and Jonathan, if you can verify real quick that you can actually see. Yep. So I did a scan before, just before we did this demo, so we didn't have a complete flop. But basically, when the unit itself is plugged in, we're online. I'm going to go through and I'm going to do a network scan. Okay. So over in the left-hand corner, once the app itself is open, I'm going to go through, do a network scan, and it's going to take a little bit because it does scan the whole gamut across the board. So it's going to discover any particular devices. So when this device pops up, I'm doing this from a laptop. This unit is already on my network in my house, but we're going to give it a second. It's going through. It's taking a peek. Give us a couple more seconds here. All right, so it's going through and it's saying it found key digital devices, video over IP, and it's giving me other. Okay, so I'm going to click OK here, and I know, okay, that this is my 4x1 switcher that is in my little playroom. So we all take all these products. So you guys know we take these products, bring them into our own environments, and basically torture test them. So real quick, so it's giving me the information of what the device itself has discovered. So I can go through and start off real quick with device name. I labeled this earlier, but I could change this to anything. So we'll do capital sales demo, right? When I go through and create that name, once I'm done creating that name, okay, I basically hit update. It'll go through and it's going to change the name of that particular device. So if you guys had more than one 4x1X's on here, you could label each one its own particular individual name itself. So as we go down the list itself here, so we can have a device name. It's showing me the firmware version of that particular unit. It's also giving me the network settings. So it's showing me my MAC ID, my IP address, etc., my gateway, my port. I can actually go through and create a static IP address for this too. So every time it would go through, pop up. I just basically, it's going a scan, and being I'm playing around with everything, I just kind of jump around and put things on and off my network. But as we go through and scroll down, and I go into my video and audio settings, I'm going to jump down one more real quick. So we were talking earlier about user-friendly names. Hold on. Right. So we can go through and change any of these. So I have my input number 1, okay, which is here. I can go through, and I called that one Jonathan last time we were doing it. I can go through and call this, let's say, cable box. Change it, okay? And it's an instant change. The only time it'll always be an instant change in our key digital management software, but the only time it won't be instant is you will refresh the key digital app, which I will go through and show you guys, and it'll be able to update. It'll scan the network and see all the information. But right now, as I'm going through and controlling it, it's changing it instantly on the fly. You can go back to changing the input. So I have all the availability information here. Input 2, 3, 4, number 1. Here's my output. Whoops. This was another training session. I do apologize. So we'll say capital boardroom. All right, change. Now my output itself is going to show up as capital boardroom. So we have other options here in our audio video settings where I can have my video output number 1 on or off, our audio. We have other control. I don't have this set up right now, Jonathan, if you're listening, but we can add our amp control and our microphone control and also our PTZ camera options on here where I can go.
It's in fact, the Key Digital app and Key Digital Management software are, we're actually releasing the app version for that this week, I believe. So yeah, no worries about adding that in if you don't need to. And then why you're not seeing the display name right now is because we have the audio selected. There we go. Yeah, so if we were to apply this, and it looks a little like we see the overlapping text there, but we're adding that support in this coming week. I just spoke to engineering about that yesterday.
So I'm just
There you
going to
go.
move
So
that.
now we see the name of the display. And the reason we have that is a lot of the app-ready products actually have, you know, the presentation switchers. We have some with mirrored outputs, so 2 outputs. You could say like front of room, side of room, and that sort of situation.
All right, so what I'm going to do, I know that was kind of brief. We have to do like our Key Digital Software Pro, but I wanted to show this is kind of the gateway getting into the Key Digital app. So I wanted to show this screenshot real quick for you guys, but I wanted to get in the fun, exciting part of it.
It's great because, and Scott, sorry if you don't mind me interjecting.
No, go ahead. Yep.
This is step number 1. You know, it's a later slide in there, but this is step 1. It's just setting up with the management software. And it used to be for a lot of the audience here, they perhaps were accustomed to the times when you had to open up PuTTY or TerraTerm in order to set the IP address. And but we've really made big efforts over the last few years to push everything through the Key Digital Management Software Pro, the universal setup software for our products. And that's what you see on the left side of the screen. And on the right side of the screen, it's like having the app built in. So everything you're seeing on the Key Digital app, we have this control interface in PC software as well. And we actually call that the Key Digital Management Software user version. So there's the Pro version where you configure the units, the user version where it's just a GUI for control if you have an end user that, say, maybe is a school system and they want to, you know, the AV IT department at the school system needs to control different rooms just from a centralized location, not from an iPad, but from a PC computer. You're able to do that in the management software as well. So we kind of really evolved from, you know, having the app to now building it into the PC software, and we're just thinking about every potential interface that end users may require for a lot of these applications.
So part of it, like I said, Jonathan, and this is something everybody should download. Any of our Key Digital products, this is your first step. You can download it right off our website, but this is going to be the stepping stone of getting into the KD app. So what I'm going to do real quick, Jonathan, I'm going to go over to switching over to, hold on one second. Whoop. Share my screen again, and I'm going to go by, oops, advance, second camera, share, and I'm going to go over to our,
I see it. So just so you know.
Yep. I'm going to go right over to our, the Key Digital app. So right now, basically, not to get too crazy with you guys, but we're utilizing one of our BYOD devices, which we're going to do another training on for you guys. So I'm airplaying my iPad to this BYOD device and actually using a USB capture device right now. So you can go through and add this to a Zoom call. So, and actually tomorrow, if you guys are interested, actually Thursday, sorry, Coffee with Key, myself, Jonathan, and our Southern Region Territory, Dwayne Rains, are doing a little expedition on all the cool things that we've learned that you can do in Zoom with a lot of our products. So real quick, KD app, go through, you open up the home screen, pops up, go through devices. So right now, being that this is on my network and I've done multiple scans, devices that's going to pop up, it's going to show my 4x1 that we were working with before. If you notice in the upper top corner here, it says capital sales. So that's what we labeled and ID'd that particular switcher through our KD-MS Pro software. So that will go in there, that's going to be there. But I want to show you, so when you first fire up the KD app and everything is on your network, I'm going to go through, and you can't see it, John, I think you can see the bottom portion of it. But on the bottom portion of it down here, which you guys really can't see this second, is a item that says rescan. you'll go through, click, oh, you can see it, just a bad view on my part. Rescan, it's going to go through and scan the network and try to discover all the key digital items that are on the network itself. So again, this is going to take a couple minutes because it's going to go through, it's going to scan the whole entire network.
Yeah, and that should be, so if that's what you're doing there, Scott, go ahead and hit it. And then the Key Digital app requires that the iPad be on the same first 3 octets, so like basically like the same subnet, if you will, as the devices you're controlling. So there's 254 potential IP addresses. And that's what the rescan process is that it'll scan all 254 and find the key digital devices based on the first few bytes of the MAC address matching up.
Yep. So it went through, scanned, found this video switcher that was on there before, but I'm going to go through and just click on this. And again, here's the Key Digital app. Before, when you went through, we did change the display name to Capital Boardroom. All those video inputs, real quick, we only changed HDMI 1. These are ones that were in there, but we could change these at any time. So HDMI 1, this goes back to the friendly names in our PowerPoint presentation. So HDMI 1 is our cable box, HDMI 3 is a cable box, 4 is miscellaneous, any additional inputs and everything else, but it's all there. But one of the craziest things that's some of the other sales guys use and we use, if you go back to the main screen, there's one that's called demo mode. If you go through and touch on demo mode, there are several of our products in here to be able to show something. It's not going to control something, but at least it'll show us some of the functionality. So one demo that I like doing all the time is our 4K video IP922. Okay. So when we were talking earlier, again, if you go through and look, we have our arrivals, departures. These are all our user-friendly names. So here's all our outputs, right? And then all of our sources across the board. And then my favorite part of this demo itself is we go through, and I'm going to hit a video wall. So this is the best thing in the world. So as we go through, right? I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see the reaction of this itself. So we have all on our right-hand side, all of our sources, and these are our displays, okay? So we're calling this a video wall that's in a cafe. So I can take and press number 2, info arrivals, and I can put that in the upper left-hand corner, okay? Or go through and say, hey, number 4, and I want that in the upper right-hand corner. Oops, sorry, let's start from the beginning. Number 2. So we're upper left, number 3. Okay, so all we're doing is simply selecting the right-hand corner sources and telling it where to go on our little 2x2 here. Okay. At the same time, if somebody wants to go through and say, oh, you know what, info arrivals, that's number 2 over here. We want to be able to take that and spread that through the whole entire video wall. All I have to do is press number 2, hang and drag, and poof. Now we have that particular image across all the displays itself. Again, pretty simple scenario. Let's just pick number 8, go over here, number 9. So super, super easy. And this is just basically taking our sources and changing them out on the displays itself. One of the other examples that we have here is our live feeds. Jonathan, so can you see that the bottom tab? Because when I'm looking at it in the screen share, it's cutting it off.
No, I do see it. Yeah, the whole bottom row, main switches, presets, video wall, and live feeds. Yes, sir, we see it. Top to bottom, we're good.
Yeah, when I look at the preview right now in the Zoom call, it cuts off the bottom. So we were mentioning before the live feed example. So if I press on live feeds, it'll go through, it's going to show us our sources and give us a little preview window. It's not a real-time aspect. It is something that takes a little bit of time. Jonathan, I'm trying to remember the actual number. Is it what it's like every?
Well, it's a thumbnail because we're using Motion JPEG 2000 there. So it's not a streaming video, but it's a thumbnail that refreshes. I want to say like
it's about every 20 to 30 seconds.
There you
Okay.
go. Sorry. Yeah, I couldn't remember how fast it was. I mean, at least it gives you a preview of it. Like, but again, I wanted to stress it's not real time. So if you guys utilize this app and you're like, oh my God, what's going on? It's not showing the image. It it is a preview to give you an example. I'm gonna go back real quick to main. So again, devices on the network. But one thing, anyone that's selling this or utilizing it can utilize this as a sales tool. So we would have everything across the board here for other demos that you could go through and show somebody. So our AV over IP, our MLV4x2, in multiple scenarios here. But hold on one second real quick. I'm going to go back to screen share. I'm going to bring that PowerPoint back up. I know I've been jumping around a lot on you guys. Hold on one second. But I like the demo portion of it better. Whoops. 1 second, we'll just get a little updated. And actually, this is one of your projects, Mr. Rains. I don't know if you want to jump in 1 second.
Which one is that one?
Or maybe not. I'm sorry. I thought the other one was in here.
No, that one's not mine.
We've all had our share here. So again, like when we go back and forth, the on all our units, USB communication back, and once it's on the network, you can change it. But I always suggest when you come out of the box, go through and do any of this. Your first connection and your first setup with KD-MS Pro is going to be a USB connection back and forth between the two. So we went over a couple of these switchers before, integration there. Another good example of a restaurant bar / location utilizing audio system and AV over IP. And then again itself, there's a couple different demo where we can create presets. Okay. This example down here is showing an open in the morning, opening, closing, DJ mode. So just like you could create a preset that was like, say, football or bowling, or, you know, I know nowadays not everything is on TV or live events, but you could create something and it'll be a preset to switch everything over and be like, hey, Monday night's football night or whatever. Hit that preset, football. Anyone can go through and utilize this and switch all the displays over to football, or Fox, ESPN, or anything like that. And here's one of the cool things as we're going through and as we're doing more remote learning and conference rooms is we can have an elaborate conference room like this and still be able to utilize our KD app for this particular scenario. So you guys can offer a complete solution with control, either providing them with an iPad or going through and, selling them an iPad, and basically no programming, video conferencing, switching, all the highlighted bullet points over on the left-hand side, and even camera PTZ control. So then we'll have speaker, volume control, everything across the board. We have several of these diagrams that we can go through and send out to you guys, and what we call Winnie the Pooh or Fisher-Price drawings, just highlighting between our iPad control app, our Wi-Fi, video, just a real simple layout, because some people we can talk about it all day, but there's those customers, or even some of you guys on the call, it could be a visual. They want to be able to see something and be like, okay, I get it. Here's my USB camera that's showing everything across the board. Here's my presentation switcher. Here's a wall plate, etc. So that's another example of being able to offer all of our solutions. And for a while, we didn't have a USB camera, so now we can compete. And even it's not included in this particular picture, but our BYOD device. So now we have, as Key Digital, a complete control system, conference room in a box. So we've got everything covered across the board. And again, no programming required. Our version of programming on this would be using the KD-MS Pro software and just changing some user-friendly names, display control, switching, but a super easy, bare bones, basic app interface. Oops, hold on one second, guys. Jonathan, one second. I'm having my mic keep on dropping in and out here, and I don't know if it's Zoom or this. So I don't know, Dwayne, give me one second here, guys, or I'll advance the slide if somebody wants to talk. I just have to reboot this mic real quick. Sorry, yep. I apologize.
Scott, I'm here. Got it. Okay. Let's see. So everybody, you can hear me now, I believe. I just don't know if I'm going to be able to take the screen, the mouse. Let's see here.
Scott, I think Scott can hear you in advance for you.
Okay. You know what? It's okay. I've got, I'll pick it up here. Sorry. I know Scott had I believe he's got a personal situation there. So just stand by one moment, please. We were almost done. We were almost done there.
Hey, Jonathan, I can still hear you, and I can advance the slide, so.
Oh, okay, that works. All right, so yeah, so this is actually a look at like what Scott had shown just a few moments ago. We have our presentation switchers. On the left, you can name your inputs. On the right, you have just depending on what you've added to the system. So the goal now, the Key Digital app has evolved to not just be a single device anymore, but actually instead to build entire systems that are app ready turnkey. So where we see our switching on the left, that's going to be there always. And then on the right-hand side, the larger chunk of real estate, we have the tab which says displays. And that is CEC control to the displays. But then in the Key Digital Management software, you may have previously seen, Scott can select, yes, I have a camera, or even how many cameras do I have? And this is your camera control panel, just by pressing that tab. And if you need to control more than one camera, which is popular for maybe not video conferencing calls, but like tele-education, training rooms and labs where you need to sometimes view the professor at the front of the room or the trainer, and then switch to another camera to catch a close-up view of a piece of hardware they're teaching you about, or some kind of specimen that they're examining in the lab, or even just catching a different view of the classroom itself. And so that's the camera select button down at the bottom corner of the screen. And then you saw earlier Scott pressing the audio button tab, and that brings us to where we have our volume control. And that's actually the brilliance of this, is that we're controlling RS-232 controllable devices, but from an app that is IP control, right? And so what happens is the Key Digital app sends IP control to the presentation switcher, or the Pro 2x1X, 4x1X, and the presentation switch itself is converting IP to RS-232 so that we can control our amplifier and camera. So it completes the system, and there's no programming whatsoever. It's just going into the Key Digital Management software like Scott had done. Go ahead, Scott, you can advance to the next. Setting the IP control, which is the first setup. Go ahead, Scott. Setting the IP, setting those friendly names, and telling the system, do we have an amplifier? Do we have a camera? Go ahead, Scott. So you guys have all seen that. And then
no worries. No worries. I'm back in. So if we hear a little noise, nothing's going on. so you know, no secret. I had somebody join me on on the call, and they snuck in the room real quick, and they were making a little bit of noise. So I didn't want everyone to get upset. So we're okay. So
No worries, buddy. So yeah, so then you scan the network, you open the app and scan just like Scott had done. So he kind of gave us a live version of all this. Go ahead, Scott. And then you're able to begin controlling. So like Scott kind of mentioned, the call to action here is download the app, because what you're seeing right there in the Key Digital app, so on your iPad or your iPhone, it is iOS only, but what you see in that demo is exactly what you can get and what you can hand over to your customer. And we know that, of course, a lot of you are already have a control system that you're using, and that's great. This could be a complementary system. Think about a bar restaurant that has the full control system in the hands of the manager, right? But then if a server or bartender need to just control the video routing so that they could get the Vikings on one of the displays where a new customer came in and sat down, they could do that without bothering the manager, without and more quickly take care of that customer and get them what they want on their screen. So it really allows you to increase efficiency, putting control in the hands of more people, because it is a free app. You don't have to pay for licensing and that sort of thing. And it's just something that they already have their phones in their pocket. Loading the Key Digital app will get them that ability. So yeah, that's really the call to action there. Just search Key Digital, and you'll see the app icon is that K logo from Key Digital. So and that'll do it. Scott, next slide there. I believe we're towards the end. Yep. So then the final call to action is, if you want Scott to give you this presentation one more time,
no worries.
That's where you reach him, or any of our colleagues here. We're here. We're ready to serve you. We're ready to teach you about this. And yeah, I mean, you could have an app-ready conference room for about $1,000. You could have the touchscreen for control. You could have switching so that you could plug in at the front of the table, the rear of the table, and you could have our PTZ, professional PTZ camera to plug in for the presenter's laptop. You know, think about that for these applications like classrooms that are really needing to have some technology to do this whole distance learning thing and make it look good. You could do this in a real cost-effective way. And when I say $1,000, that's more like retail price. So this capital sales team has your pricing information for things like our switcher that you saw with Scott, the cameras, and every Key Digital product, all accessible through Capital Sales. We want to thank the Capital Sales team. Scott, I could hand it back to you now that I know you're here, if you wanted to have any closing words, my friend.
Yeah, no worries. So just kind of like a recap. I know everybody sits through multiple PowerPoint presentations and sometimes they get boring. Anytime you guys can reach out to any of us and we can do an individual demo. But it's really a hands-on thing. So if you have an iOS device, iPad, iPhone, download it, and just the demo alone is a huge thing to be able to show a dealer and be like, it's a perfect example, because what's in that demo, other than the names, is what you're going to be able to show what that Key Digital app looks like. So to be able to provide a conference room and say, oh yeah, okay, Mr. Smith, conference room's complete. Let me see your iPad. We're going to download this. Oh, let me change a couple names for you. So maybe there's a little bit of programming involved, or what we call programming, but it's really just some editing in there across the board. So, feel free to reach out to any of us. And so you guys know, we all work as a team. Like you said, like you guys heard here, Dwayne was on, I was on, Jonathan was on. All of us are always here. If you want all of us to see an email, good or bad, just send it to sales@keydigital.com and we will all see it, and your answer will get addressed, etc. Or you can reach out to Chris. Chris will relay it to us, but we're here to help you guys. So even if it's like, hey, you know what, I need a little extra help here. I'm not sure if I grasp, but we could do a one-on-one. I mean, we're all kind of working remotely now. So, we do have a little bit of time, schedule a Zoom call, go back over this, but please don't hesitate. There's no silly questions, silly emails. We're here to help.